Michael, fortunately, you're a cocoa farmer.
Yeah.
Do I assume that you are also not happy with the producer price index? Producer price of cocoa?
Moro, do you know what every cocoa farmer looks out for?
What are you looking for?
A higher price.
Okay.
So if you are taking 3,001, you are expecting that at least you take 5,000 or 6,000, and then you are giving 120 ACDs.
Okay.
What happens is you'll be disappointed. And the disappointment is coming out from the fact that there is betrayal of trust. The last election, there was a serious campaign mounted for a 6,000 a bag price of cocoa. And that campaign had gone into the fiber, into the minds of every farmer. So it is very difficult today because the farmers do not understand why you are unable to give them that price that you promised them. What is happening with this whole cocoa issue is not because maybe Dr. Randy Abbey is not doing something right, but it is because there was a promise, and that promise is not being fulfilled. And we are not far from that promise because it was just some few months ago when that promise was made. And yesterday I said that the one person I sympathize with today is Dr. Randy Abbey. Because from no fault of his, he happens to sit in the hot seat today. And comments and promises made by others are now haunting him because he has to defend the situation now. The press conference by the minority, I read it last night and I realized Dr. Iwa Opoku mentioned transfers and so on. So we talk about, there's been commentary that Cocoa Board is insolvent. But then, according to Iwa Opoku, more than 60, almost 100 people have been transferred, directors and managers within the system. And if you understand how Cocoa Board works, a transfer grant is about 40,000 for managers and 80,000 for directors. So just transfers alone, you are looking at about over 5 million Ghana cedis transfers. And then they are going to promote people to fill those transfers. And all those people who are going to fill those transfers will come at an increase in the wage bill. So all these factors are going on. Then you come to the farmer. What is the farmer getting? Today the price has been increased by 128 cedis per bag. You had initially promised 6,000. Dr. Atoforsen had promised 6,000, not less than 6,000. Honorable Eric Opoku, not less than 6,000. And quite interestingly, all these people are in charge because Cocoa Board is now under finance, and there are 3 ministries that regulate Cocoa Board. That is finance, agric, and trade. So 2 out of the men who made those promises are there at the realm of affairs, and they are all working with Dr. Randy Abbey. What is interesting is that Cocoa Board says they achieved FOB is $7,200. And based on that, they are giving the farmer $5,040, which means there is an extra to almost $2,200 that is coming to Cocoa Board for its activities, administrative work, administrative expenses, and other activities. If you look at the last pricing in the 2024 season, the achieved FOB was $4,850. And they were giving the farmer about $3,100 or more, about $3,200. So it means what was coming to Cocoa Board was about $1,700, $1,600. So today Cocoa Board is getting more in terms of funds coming to it. And it's because world market prices have gone up. I give it to NDC. In 2016, before they left office, cocoa prices were, the world market price was about $3,000. Today, they came to office and it's ranging around $8,000. They have always come into office at the point when prices are at its highest peak. 2017, when MPP took over, the world market prices started dropping all the way down, bottom down to about $2,200, $2,400. By 2018, it was about $1,800. Today we are talking about $7,000, $8,000. 2018, it was $1,800. And you still had to give the farmer what you were paying in 2016. But then the then government managed it, supported it, had to subsidize fertilizer and all that to cross and get out of the woods. So today, if you have promised the farmer 6,000, the farmer is expectant. You see, our farmers are conservatives. If you sow an idea into their mind, they will hold you to it. And that is why there is a brewing anger amongst the farmers. The former chief executive used to say something, that we have to be careful how we politicize cocoa. If you've not been in that seat, there are things, that's why I say I sympathize with Dr. Randy Abbey. There are things you will not understand. Because cocoa is very technical. And the last election, I watched how we politicized. I remember there was a time the former chief executive was on Asempa FM to explain why we were giving the farmer 3,100 cedis per bag. And our younger brother, Sammy Jemfi, who is now the CEO for Good Board, challenged him that it is not true. Pricing is done on spot. I remember clearly because that particular program, it was myself and Dennis Miracles who arranged with the Asempa team that he should go and explain the 3,100 because people didn't understand. So he went there to do the explanation. And Sammy Jemfi challenged him on the show that, you know what, Chief Executive, you don't know what you are talking about. You are lying to Ghanaians. To the extent that he used words on him, that day I felt so sad, that he is empty and incompetent. He used those words on him. So the chief executive told him, you know what, we have an office at Cocoa Board called the trading room. They do the trading and all these pricing things. You can come there, open our doors for you so that the technical people will explain. Maybe you think I'm a politician. Asempa carried their cameras to Cocoa Board trading room to get the real facts. Even the next day when they had come out to the facts, Sammy Jemfi continued to oppose it vehemently. So the message was sunk into the minds of people that the 3,001 was not enough. And the interesting thing was that, you know, in cocoa pricing, just like any commodity trading, prices fluctuate. Prices are very volatile. Tomorrow, today, oil may be $60 per barrel. Tomorrow, it will be $70 per barrel or $75. Cocoa may be $8,000 today. Tomorrow, it can come to $7,000 based on market sentiment, speculations, demand and supply, forecast, and so on. The next day, it might jump to $10,000. So what they did was they picked a single day spot price of $10,000 and used it for calculation and sold it to Ghanaians. And they did not appreciate that you will need to pick the cumulative average price over the season to do your pricing. And the cumulative average price over the season then was $4,850. And the then government gave about 64%, 65%. That came to the 3,100 cedis per bag.
It was 63%.
63%. No, they used 16 cedis. But during the time, the BOG was not using 16 cedis for Cocoa Board. Just like today, on the market, dollar is about 13, 12 point something, but BOG is giving 10.25 to Cocoa Board.
Yes. What was what did BOG give at the
BOG
time?
was giving about 14.5 then.
Okay.
So if you use that to do the calculation, it was more than the 63 they are saying.
Okay. So
yes.
that takes you to about 65%.
Yes, about 65%.
Okay.
So the conversation today is happening because of the politicization that had been done yesterday. That is why the conversation is where it is today. And I don't sympathize with them. I don't. Today I sympathize with the farmer because I told you I'm wearing two shoes. The farmer and as a member of parliament. And most especially when prices are so high. When today they speak about, this is the first time I've seen a release that talks about giving farmers free insecticide. Listen to this. Free insecticide, free pesticide, free spraying machines. This has been going on since President Kofo's time. And you don't even separate them. There's a program called the Cocoa Mass Spraying. I think Uncle Kwesi is aware of this.
Yeah.
when they are doing mass spraying, there are two types of spraying. When they are spraying insecticides, they use the motor brew, the mechanical sprayer, the one they call the motor brew. And then the mass sprayers will mix the chemicals and spray the whole farm. And then when they are spraying the pesticides, they use the knapsack sprayer to do it. And today, they don't give the spraying machines to a single farmer. They have cooperatives or let's say a union. So a cooperative will come to the cocoa office or the shed office, and then they will assign a mass spraying team to them, give the team fuel and all these things, and the spraying gun will go and spray. So when you list these items individually, it shows some level of disingenuity on your part. You mentioned that you give them free flower inducers. Flower inducers has always been given to them for free. What are flower inducers? It's a chemical that is sprayed on the cocoa so that the flowers will come out. It's always given to the farmers. And when it's given to them, after the flower inducers are sprayed, that is when the farmers then do the pollination, which was introduced by the previous government, so that you get more pods on the tree. So all these things have been going on. The previous government was doing mass spraying. It was giving free flower inducers. It was doing pruning, mass pruning. The first time we ever did mass pruning in this country, can you imagine as a country? We have a farm, we have farms, cocoa farms, and we were not pruning them. We were not even advising or teaching the farmers to prune them. Even in the Bible says that sometimes you need to prune the bad branches off. So biblically, when you are treating a farm, you need to do pruning so that you get fresh branches. But we were not doing the pruning. So the previous government introduced the mass pruning and all these things. The issue of fertilizer, there was a period in time, Cocoa Board has reports from the security agencies and so on that show that the free fertilizer was moving to Burkina Faso, Togo, and so on, as far as Nigeria. So what they did to reduce it was that they brought two solutions. One, to form the cooperatives. Cooperatives didn't exist. The previous government formed the cooperatives, the groups of farmers, let's say 1,500, you come together and form a cooperative. So when the fertilizer is coming, we know that, okay, Uncle Kwesi Pratt and his cooperative, they have farms measuring about 120 acres together. Each acre is supposed to get, let's say, 4 bags of fertilizer. So they do the multiplication and the trust comes straight to the cooperative, releases the fertilizer to the cooperatives, and the cooperatives will apply the fertilizer. And then there is a subsidy program. So instead of giving it out for free, the cooperative will pay some minimum amount. So let's say if a bag of fertilizer, just saying, is 200 cedis per bag. Let's say the government will say pay 60 cedis per bag as subsidy. And then when you pay the 60 cedis, what the 60 cedis is intended to do is to prevent you from smuggling, because it will add an additional cost, which when you take it outside this country, it will make the bag expensive. So that was what was happening. Today you say you waived off the subsidy program and that you are going to give the fertilizer free to the farmers. Fine, fair enough, because even when you were doing the subsidy, people were going around telling the farmers that, oh, this government used to give it to you for free. These people are selling it to you, so don't pay. So it was difficult for the farmers to pay. And I have listened to Dr. Randy Abbey says that he mentioned that even with the subsidy program, the returns were not coming. And we are aware that people were not paying because the politicization on the grounds was so effective that farmers would take the fertilizer and say, well, NDC gave it to us for free, so we won't pay. But then they still kept it in place so that it will control the smuggling of the fertilizer. So all these things are in place. They are nothing new. But if you come out and say, okay, because we are doing these things for you, so that's why we are not increasing for you, it's disingenuous. It's disingenuous. And most especially, farmers are conservatives. You sold the idea of 6,000 to them. They are expectant of 6,000. I may understand because I have done commodity trading and I understand the numbers. But how many people understand it like me? How many people understand it like me? And most especially when you yourself came out to tell the general public that the previous government was not giving farmers enough. They were cheating farmers. you sold the idea of cheating. Today, when I was coming, I was listening to a radio when Dr. Atoforsen was saying that Nanado and Dr. Bawumia took part of the money. They were supposed to give farmers 6,000. They gave 3,000. And so when farmers meet Nanado and Dr. Bawumia, they should go and collect their 3,500 from them, and that they are thieves. I was like, wow. So they said all these things. I was shocked. So, today what is happening is the worst of those in government today, the words they use in opposition, that is what is haunting them. It's their own words that is haunting them today.